It won't be to the time, will up in more seasons than mine. Others up, but this must be a sign of a statement for being too kind. I'm like a opposite, step in my ill mind. Ill mind, that's right, I'm sick, but I still provide.
Welcome to
Sack
Sack
City.
City. Your boys Ty and Lucci here to bring you our favorite NFL takes, some hot, and news around the league when it happens. So today we're going to be discussing the NFL honors. Going to be saying what we agree with, what we don't agree with, and then at the end we're going to give our Super Bowl score prediction and our top 5 locks and one sleeper bet for the game. Let's kick it off with MVP. How do you feel about Josh Allen winning MVP?
Well, I think MVP was done properly. I totally agree with their assessment. I know a lot of people are mad that Lamar didn't get it, but Lamar got it last year and he didn't have the best stats either. Dak definitely outplayed Lamar in statistical categories last year, and he didn't win MVP. Lamar did. So it's the same kind of argument here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very happy Josh got it. I truly believe he did more with less. It's not all about the stats sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
If they made it about the stats, they should have just awarded Lamar the MVP as soon as the season ended.
Yep.
So I'm really happy with Josh Allen winning it. I think he truly deserved it. If Lamar won it, I wouldn't have been upset either. But my pick is Josh Allen, so I'm glad he won it. It would have been cool like Saquon to win it, you know, a running back, but it seems like it's going more towards a quarterback award nowadays.
Yeah, there's only 21 non-QB MVPs in all of history since 1957 in the NFL's history. 2 of those were defensive players, 1 kicker, and the rest were running backs.
Kicker?
Yeah,
who was the
1
kicker?
kicker.
Do you remember?
1982.
Oh
and
my
it was
gosh.
McCluskey, something with an M.
Wow.
I'm not sure how he won, but it was a strike year in 1982, so that part kind of makes sense, I guess. In a day and age when QB is just dominating the MVP votes every time, it's just not going to happen unless you win a record. And honestly, Saquon not getting the record means he wasn't going to win MVP. I'm okay with that because in our next one is Offensive Player of the Year. I'm glad he won that. I'll take that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, since obviously he wasn't going to get MVP, he had to win the Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, what a season he had. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, he would have gotten the record, obviously, if they had played him. But, I mean, what a year for Saquon, man. He deserved that full on. I mean, we kind of knew it was coming his way. So let's move on here to Coach of the Year. Okay. Kevin O'Connell won it from Minnesota. I mean, he obviously did a great job. It's no secret. I mean, he won the award as well, you know. So I know we kind of on the same page here. We talked about it before. I was rooting really for Dan Quinn. And you made a great point about Andy Reid.
Yeah, I think Andy Reid, honestly, he deserves it. I know he's got the Chiefs. I don't like the Chiefs, obviously, but you know,
especially tomorrow.
Especially not tomorrow. But I'm hoping he does a horrible job at coaching tomorrow. But I just think that he is the best coach. They're clutch. Oh, Andy Reid is doing it. He's the one calling those plays. The Chiefs didn't get really any nominations or any consideration for any award, but they also don't have the best coach, which doesn't make sense because how do you win that many games? How do you win 15 games? Without having either some Pro Bowlers, you know, that are capable of getting the job done with or without a great coach, or having a great coach. Well, I think they had both, but we don't like the Chiefs, so no one was going to vote for them anyway. So I just think Andy Reid deserves recognition if no one else is going to get it.
Exactly. And one quick point about Reid is these close games that they're squeaking out, because it was almost like it was a negative point people are making, like, oh, the Chiefs are getting lucky. They're squeaking out these games, you know, they haven't won a game more than this many points up, you know, yada, yada, yada. That's a result of good coaching. And as Tom Brady said on Fox, he said, listen, when you're playing your worst and you're finding a way to win the games, that is great coaching. When you're not playing your best and you're finding a way to win, that's great coaching. So I think Andy deserves more credit. I think people are tired of giving him credit. That's kind of why people are turning a shoulder on him. But I agree with you, man. I think Andy definitely should have been in the serious conversation. As long as, like I said earlier, Dan Quinn, I mean,
yes,
what a turnaround. That he put together a great staff. He's a great coach. I mean, you don't have that big of a turnaround just because of a quarterback. He was my pick. I think Andy Reid would have been. I think Andy deserved, for me, like a close second. But I don't have a problem with kind of winning it. But I would have liked to see Dan Quinn get it.
I think I would have put Dan Quinn as my second. So it's real funny that you say that. I would have had it as Andy Reid and then Dan Quinn. And it sounds like you would have had it as Dan Quinn, Andy Reid.
So speaking of Dan Quinn and the Commanders, let's move to the offensive rookie of the year. Now it's kind of a no-brainer for me. Jaden Daniels, to me, watching him play on Sundays, if I just started watching football this year, I had no idea who these players were. I was learning the players. I would have thought that he's been in the league for like 3 to 5 years.
They I don't know if you've heard about this, but there was a stipulation in his contract that the Commanders would help pay, or they would pay for altogether VR, like a whole system that he'd put on, and he's using it to react to the defenses coming in. So he'd set it at a faster pace. So a defense is coming at him faster.
Wow.
So that he could recognize on the field everything is moving actually slower for him.
Yeah.
Because he's been practicing at a higher speed than everyone else.
Wow.
Now, I don't know where he came up with that idea of doing this, but man, that's a great idea.
I mean, you could use that with a vet like Jalen. And no matter who it is in the league, everyone can always improve, right? And
absolutely,
that's a great tool. More teams should pick up on that. Let's switch over to the other side of the ball. I know you have a strong opinion on this one. Jared Verse winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. What are your honest thoughts on that?
I don't know why someone only having 4.5 sacks means he's automatically Defensive Rookie of the Year. That doesn't make sense to me. I see Quinyon Mitchell go in and be a starter week 1 versus the Packers, where we weren't sure what their wide receiver room really looked like, but we knew that they had some pieces. We knew they had some burners. Well, Quinyon made sure that they weren't getting touchdowns. The only person that burned us was in the slot. Slot receiver is the only one getting really any kind of yards against our corners. Well, we had Avonte Maddox in there, who is now our second and third string. Cooper DeJean took over his spot already. I think it should have been Quinyon easily. Maybe it's because he's not traveling with the receivers. I get that, but in today's defense, most defenses are zone, and almost every defense in the league is zone. You're not going to have very many corners that actually travel.
Interesting. So I kind of agree with you here. I would have been okay with Mitchell or Verse. There was a time in the year where I thought Mitchell was a lock. There's a short time where I thought Verse. I think he had like one. I think most of his sacks came in like one game,
right,
in October, and I'm like, oh, I think maybe he's gonna. But I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion on that one. An actual going into the word. I'm like, oh, this is gonna win it. I was kind of open-minded about it, and I really wanted to hear an Eagles fan perspective. I'm glad I heard it because, it's one of those things where I didn't really care who won it, so it's good to hear that your perspective there. Moment of the year, I forget the 3. Obviously, there was a Hail Mary. Obviously, I think the most impressive part is the back of the play, right? Is the players going up and getting it. Oftentimes when that Hail Mary happened, everyone was going crazy about Jaden Daniels. Oh my God, Jaden Daniels is insane. But the thing is, first of all, Noah Brown was smart to put himself in the perfect position for the deflection.
Right.
And oftentimes in Hail Marys, I know Rodgers Hail Marys, right? He's known for his Hail Marys. At the same time, if you watch him back, you see the defender going up, fighting up there and grabbing that thing and coming down with it. That's the tough part. Obviously, these guys throw 50, 60 yards. I feel like they should, right? They're in the NFL. That's my opinion on it. The 3 they listed, it was a Hail Mary. It was the Jefferson, 90-something yard touchdown. Third play was Lamar. He scrambled out to his right and he threw a dot. It was right at the sideline. He got hit and he threw it like a dot to the back of the end zone. Amazing play, but I think there was 3 plays on there, and I don't think the Saquon one was on there, and I was flabbergasted by that. Maybe it was, maybe I missed it, but I don't remember seeing it because I remember if I saw it, I would be like, all right, that's the one. Because when I see them,
argument is just no.
Yeah, when I see the nominations, in my brain, I'm usually like, okay, that's got to be it. I think that should have been one for me. Saquon's backwards hurdle, because that's just that's child's play. He was running, he just did like a 360 hurdle. That's a video game stuff. Hail Mary,
you can't do it in Madden.
you can't even do it in Madden.
I don't know how a backwards hurdle that's never been done can't even do it in a video game. Yeah.
My jaw hit the ground when that happened. That was insane.
it's probably the most insane running back play I've seen.
When I saw the 3 nominations, the Hail Mary was on there. And I'm not hating on Jane Daniels. I love Jane Daniels. I mean, he's been impressive.
I just think that my argument to all of it is that for every play that they nominated that isn't Saquon's leap, it's all things we have seen before.
Speaking of Saquon's league, is that Saquon's leap I see in the background?
That is
the
poster.
I'm staring at it the whole time I'm talking about it. I'm like,
I'm over here. I'm like pointing it.
Yeah.
The problem for me is that Hail Mary in particular, I'm trying not to hate on, I know it sounds like I'm just hating on Washington, but like the most important part of that play to me was that the defense is the reason that happened. He was out of position.
Oh, that's right.
There's a whole video of the safety looking
waving
at the freaking stands.
He was waving
dancing.
to them. Yeah.
He's waving and dancing.
I remember
and then
that.
He's not paying attention and he turns and the play's coming at him.
Oh,
and he's the reason it tipped. To me, I can't give that play of the year because I'm like, if he was in the right position, do I think that they would have caught it? No, I don't. I think they would have lost that game to the Bears. And the
those
Bears
team meetings must have been brutal for him. The team meetings I think they probably had Monday morning. I mean, dude.
That's rough.
I mean, the video was around the internet too. He was just, they played that video. They did.
Oh yeah.
He was waving.
It was an Instagram video too.
Waving to them, went dancing. Viral. And he turned around, the play is going. He's like, what the heck?
Oops. I didn't know this play started. Brutal. It's like, dude, you got to pay attention. To me, I'm like, that can't be moment of the year. It's the safety's fault that it even happened. Am I going to pick that or am I going to pick something that I've never seen before? I don't know how that Saquon's leap is not picked. To me, it's a no-brainer. I think that should have won. Probably the biggest snub out of all of them. And yeah, like, cool. Quinion got snubbed, but I kind of expected that to happen. Zach Bond got snubbed. I expected that to happen. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. That one, I didn't expect to get snubbed. I was expecting that full-heartedly to just win.
Okay, let's talk about the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, so I definitely, obviously disagree as a biased Eagles fan. No, but in all actuality, Zach Bond deserved it. Zach Bond had better stats than prime Luke Kuechly when he won Defensive Player of the Year this year. He had better stats across the board. You go look up I think it was 2013 Luke Kuechly, and that's when he won his Defensive Player of the Year. Zach Bond's stats across the board are all better.
Wow.
Literally everything. I know Patrick Surtain is amazing, probably the best corner in the league, but there's no way. I feel like Zach Bond definitely deserved that.
Yeah, he popped off. When did the Eagles acquire him again?
This year.
Oh my gosh.
This is his first year. Last year he was on the Saints special teams.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. That's crazy. So he came to Philly and just started popping off.
He signed.
Unbelievable.
It was a 1-year deal. He signed a 1-year deal for like real cheap. We thought, hey, like you could be one of our backup linebackers and you could do special teams. And then, Fangio's like, hey, wait a minute. This guy's pretty good. Let's put him in there. And they started him and he just goes off.
Yeah, unbelievable. So we're gonna go to the comeback player of the year. I think that one I like the Burrow choice there. I mean, he had to win something, right? I mean,
oh yeah.
and I like the idea of that award being awarded to guys that were unfortunately injured the previous season, rather than a guy that's like came off his couch, something like that. You know what I mean? Burrow obviously got hurt and he came back and he had an MVP caliber season this year, but like you said earlier, some circumstances. But I'm glad Burrow got it. I really am.
I'm glad Burrow got it.
He needed something.
It's funny that they admitted in a tweet that they told voters to not vote for Sam Darnold because he wasn't injured the year before. I don't know who tweeted it, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a little odd." But I agree with them. But it is odd that they were telling the voters, "Don't vote for him. He still got votes. He still got second, I think, or third. Wow. Maybe it was third. He still got it, even though they told him don't."
I didn't know that. That was a thing.
I mean, it maybe they come back and say that it gets disproven.
I mean, there's exceptions. Like imagine, like I don't know, let's say Fitzpatrick, throw a random name out there, comes out next year and throws for like 4,000 yards, like 45 touchdowns, 3 picks. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
That
yeah.
would be a little, but that's not. I mean, that's not happening. But I do like the idea of the award being for guys that were hurt.
I totally agree. I don't think that there should be any reason that anyone other than Joe Burrow should get it that this year.
I agree.
He was on a good, trajectory to get better. And I think this year he proved that injury didn't do anything to him. He didn't lose a step. Honestly, that's why I think Joe Burrow is going to be one of the better quarterbacks for years to come. But those injuries keep on coming up and coming up, and it's starting to get a little scary. I don't know how many injuries he's going to be able to take before, it's time to go.
Yeah, and they got some free agents coming up big time this year.
That's
And
true.
they obviously teased the. I'm sorry. Obviously Jamar's number one priority right now. Um,
T.
but
Higgins
they
is
got a
very
lot.
important.
They have to lot. Yeah, and they have a lot of money they have to give out. They have Jamar. They have T. Then they're gonna have Henderson next year, but he's probably gonna want to get paid this off season. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
probably doesn't want to go in. But I mean, this is a conversation for another stream, or conversation for another podcast. But I truly believe that if T walks, I can see them getting Ted McMillan. He's like tall, skinny. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Did what do you think about this? I just thought about this. Actually going back to the comeback player, Damar Hamlin going 0 for 2 on comeback player of the year.
This year?
Well, they didn't give it to him last year, and they didn't give it
Yeah,
to him this
yeah,
year.
that's right. I mean, I forgot that he was. I didn't know.
They tried to give it to him twice now, and he gets votes,
Yeah,
but he's not winning it.
I
At
mean,
what point do we say, okay, he's not a comeback player?
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
at what point is he not one?
I mean, his story is incredible. He literally
Right.
died in the field. You know what I mean? What was it, like 7 minutes or something crazy? That's unheard of. And I guess he played. They said 3 snaps last year. I guess that's why he didn't win it. I mean, if he played, let's say 50% of the snaps all year, that would be he probably would have won it. But I think it's just workload. That's why he wouldn't. I get it. Like he stepped back on the football field. He took a snap, a real live snap in a game
Yep.
after what happened the year before. So that's impressive on its own. But I mean, I kind of get it. You know what I mean? A lot of people are upset
I
about it.
totally get it.
I get it. Yeah.
I totally get it. I just think it's at some point, right? We gotta acknowledge maybe he's not a comeback player.
Yeah. It's turn the page.
Like he can only be a comeback player. This is not Ben Simmons. He cannot be rookie of the year 2 years after he's been a rookie or whatever it was. They just kept on trying to give him rookie of the
Yeah.
year.
I remember
Like
that.
this
It was a
is
rookie
not
his
that.
third year.
No, you can't do that. We're not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is probably gonna be the last year they're gonna have him up for it. You know what I mean? I mean, because he was healthy this year, which is good, right?
Very good.
So I think
He
this is
played better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he played a lot too. He played every game, right? Yeah, all season.
They needed him.
Yeah,
that that
yeah.
that defense was a little rough.
I mean, they also lost two of their guys, right? They lost Poyer, and I think Hyde was hurt.
That secondary was depleted all year.
Did they lose
And
Milano
honest,
again? I think they lost Milano again
yeah,
too,
I
didn't
think
they?
too.
Oh,
Him too. Dude, they were depleted. That's why I think it's so important to give Josh Allen MVP this year.
that's what I'm saying. Like
That defense was bad. It was not good. It was not good. They let Patrick Mahomes put up the only 30-point game he had all year.
So let's switch gears to the Super Bowl. Lucci, I already know you must be very happy with the outcomes of these past few playoff games. Your boys are in
Absolutely.
it. For the as a Patriots fan, the census in the fan base, usually the ones online, right, tweeting all the time, is screw the Chiefs. They can't. They're a threat to the Patriots dynasty, the legacy. Like, listen, for me, I'll be okay if they win. If they win, I won't be upset. I mean, obviously, I'm not a fan of the Eagles, so I won't be upset because I'm a Patriots fan. I feel like I'm really not a fan of that behavior there. But I will say that I love witnessing history to be a part of it. If they three-peat, that's sick, right? That's like it's cool to witness it. And I'm not going to hate on it because the Patriots never did it. I feel like that's petty, right? So if they three-peat, I will. I
Man,
can't
you got
hate
me
on
on
it.
pins and needles over here. I don't know who you're picking now.
I know. I can't hate on
I'm
it.
confused here.
Yeah, I'm a little back and forth here. Kelsey did say that he plans on playing more football, but that he's not going to say when they ask him, this is his last game. Like he's not going to announce it or time for the game. It's
Right.
very possibly could be his last game. I mean, he does a
Absolutely.
podcast with Jason, right? New Heights. It's doing amazing,
Absolutely.
insanely good. It's a great podcast. I love watching it. So he can
Shout
just
out New
settle in and
Heights.
do that. Yeah, shout out New Heights. He can just settle in and do that. You know, they're doing well. Obviously he's got a superstar or girlfriend, right? I mean, he's living a good life right now, so he doesn't need football anymore. But football does need him. That's for sure. I have a lot of respect for Travis Kelce. I hate the whole everything in this Patriots fan base is a debate with the Chiefs, like him versus Gronk. Listen, I respect greatness. Travis Kelce is one of the best tight ends ever, and if he does retire, I'm gonna miss watching him for real.
Would you put him over Gronk though?
I don't know. It's like in certain aspects, yes, but at first saying like straight up tight end as a position, I'm gonna say no slightly, just because Kelce, and this is not an insult. A lot of Chiefs fans take it as an insult. Kelsey's like a big receiver. And that's not an insult. That is a compliment to his agility. That's, his route running. When I think of tight end, you think of a big guy that can block, that can do this, that. Kelce, I mean, obviously he can block. He's an NFL tight end. He's one of the best ever. But it's not really his strong suit. With Gronk is he spent most of his time blocking,
Right.
because think about the Patriots. They didn't run, their schemes are so questionable every week. They used all 3 or 4 running backs. They ran the ball a lot. They developed a run game. And Gronk, obviously, he blocked a lot, but he was also the safety blanket, right? The seam route. I mean, one of my favorite plays against the Colts was a big touchdown. Like you couldn't tackle him. You like one guy, unless you went for his knees, which is unfortunately got hurt when you're doing that. But you needed 2 guys to tackle him, and that to me is a tight end, right? That's my version of tight end.
I'm going to give you an interesting perspective. So as an Eagle fan, I was a hater of both I'm a hater of the Chiefs, obviously, for obvious reasons, but I've always also been a hater for the Patriots. So I have the privilege of being the one with the perspective of hating both teams. So not having either, like, who would I rather go up against?
This is the perspective that we need. Yeah. Because they're both great in their own way. Yeah. I mean,
and here's the real answer. If you have a good running back in the backfield, I'd rather go up against Travis Kelce because I can get through him.
Yeah.
If I'm going up against with just we're having a pass happy offense, I'd rather go up against Gronk. Not because he's not going to get the passes or the catches, but because Travis Kelce, for some reason, just gets open.
He's just so smart, man. He's so smart.
It's so smart. But it's also why I will say this. Almost every NFL team that's good has two tight end sets, double tight end sets. So instead of who's the best tight end, I think the question is going to end up changing to who are the best 2 tight ends, because you have to have 2. You can't have one, and you can't have only one good tight end on a team. We have Calcaterra and we have Goddard. Goddard's going to get all of our blocking done for us. Calcaterra is going to end up being all of our receptions. Goddard's great at receptions, but Calcaterra is a better catcher, and he's a better receiver because he's a little bit slimmer. Same thing here. I think Gronk is by far the better blocker. So when you do 2 tight end set, you keep him there for blocking, and now you also have Travis Kelce, who can get into open. These weird middle of the field is wide open out of nowhere. But then when you get down to the red zone, well, that middle is not going to be there. It's just not. You're going to get Gronk wide open.
Yeah.
So the question is, to me, do I put him in the top 2? Yeah. And I don't think that you can really decipher between the 2 because they're good at different things.
Exactly.
And they're more important for different scenarios. Shameless plug. I think, well, next week we're kind of segmenting into next week's topics.
Oh yeah.
Which we're going to talk about what the impact is of the Super Bowl for whoever wins, right? We're going to be talking about, if the Chiefs won, the question is okay, Brady and Gronk, and then, or is it Patrick and Travis?
It's gonna be a big conversation.
Which one would you rather have as their duo? And so that's the conversation I think is coming, depending on this Super Bowl.
Correct.
Now if they lose, all bets are off. I don't think there's even a question. I'm taking Brady Gronk if they lose the Super Bowl
At this moment, yeah.
at this moment, right?
Mhm.
Um, so we'll probably get into that more because that topic's going to come up.
It's gonna,
Um,
yeah.
but it'll be a good conversation for next week.
And listen, it's gonna come up eventually, no matter what. Now, like you said, if they win this game, it will be the conversation will be here. It'll be all over the place. You turn on the TV, you turn on no matter what NFL Network, you turn on ESPN, whatever it may be, you're going to see the conversation. So we're gladly going to be talking about it as well and give our perspectives on it. And you'll hear it from me too. You know, like I said earlier, I don't try not to be biased. I try to be open minded about things. And I've thought a lot about that. I really have. But we'll save that conversation for the next one. It's gonna be a good conversation we're gonna have. So let's do our predictions for the game.
Oh, here's the drum roll. Obviously, I already picked the Eagles, so I mean that's a given. Drum roll.
There it is. I am gonna pick the Eagles 31-27.
Woo, you got it.
I will say, if the Chiefs win this game, I wouldn't be too surprised. But right now, I'm taking the Eagles 31-27. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a fairly high scoring game. Like I said, I won't be surprised if the Chiefs win, but I'm taking the Eagles 31-27.
Wow, you got it much higher than I do. I mean, not much higher, but you definitely have it as a higher scoring game than I do. Obviously, I picked the Eagles. That's a given. But I'm only going Eagles 27, Chiefs 23. I think it's going to be a little bit more defensive in the beginning.
Very well could be, yeah.
I think that the defenses are really going to show up in the first half. And I think it's going to be a war of attrition. Whose defense can mess up the other offense first? And I think that's where it's going to come into play. And we're going to talk kind of what we think stats wise with some of our locks and some of our bets. But I do think there's going to be an interception. I do think there's going to be a turnover for the Chiefs. And I do think that the Eagles are going to win the turnover battle there because the defense is going to be dominant. I do think that the Chiefs defense though will be dominant in a different way. They're going to hold the Eagles to some 3-and-outs. There's going to be some 3-and-outs. I don't think that they're going to score every single possession. It's just not going to happen. Both defenses are very good. I just think the Eagles defense is better, which is why I don't think that the Chiefs are going to go higher than 23. That 23 points, that's what? 2 touchdowns and a few field goals.
Yeah.
I just see that happening too easily. Bucker's a great kicker. I think he makes them. I don't think he misses anything.
Yeah, he's great.
And I think 2 touchdowns, that means that, Patrick Mahomes threw one to Travis Kelce probably and one to Xavier Worthy. That's where I have those touchdowns. On the flip side, Eagles, their defense is really good. I just don't think the Chiefs defense can stop Saquon as much as what they act like. And what I've been seeing online, they're talking about they're going to shut down Saquon. I just don't see that happening. Maybe he doesn't get 200 yards. Maybe he doesn't get 150 yards. But 120 yards is a lot of yards in a Super Bowl for a running back. I do see that happening. And if I am a betting man and I am going to take, Saquon over 115 yards, which what some of the lines are at right now, I'm going to take the over on that. I just don't see him not getting there. I think they're going to dare Jalen to throw. Fun. That's great. The weapons we have on the outside, this is why we got those weapons. I just think that Jalen's out for revenge.
Yeah, and I really feel like he needs this game too because he's been getting the disrespect. So this is another storyline we're going to talk about. The next one is if the Eagles win this one, we'll talk about Jalen Hurts. Where does this leave him? How people view him, the respect that he needs. Right. So speaking of you being a betting man, we're going to move on to our last segment here.
Yeah, top 5 locks
and one sleeper.
To start our top 5 locks off, though, I'm going to go Saquon with at least one anytime touchdown.
For our second lock, we are taking Patrick Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
That goes right into what I was saying too. I think.
Yeah, there it is.
The number 3 lock that we have, Devontae Smith having 5 receptions. I think that's too easy. It's over 4.5.
So our number 4 lock is DeAndre Hopkins, over 1.5 receptions, 2 catches. There's 2 catches for him.
Ooh.
Come on, it feels like a
Too
gimme.
low of a line. It's
Feels
too
like
low
a
of a
gimme,
line.
man. It's D-Hop. Get him going.
Our next one, we have Goddard, and we're going to do over 4.5 receptions for him as well. The Chiefs, historically this year, have been pretty bad about guarding the opposing team's tight end. So I think Goddard could have a pretty big game here. I think that could be one of our touchdowns too.
All right. And for our 6th pick, the sleeper, Reed Blankenship, defensive interception. So what do we think here? We locking these in, guys?
I say we lock these in. I think
Let's go. So obviously that's our bets. We're locking them in. You guys can tell us if you want to. You have to be over legal age to bet and in a legal state, guys. Make sure, be smart, be responsible.
Don't chase your losses.
Don't chase your losses. That's going to wrap things up today, guys. You know the drill. If you enjoyed us today, make sure to give the video some love. And as always, it's good to see you. We'll see you in the next one.